Hello and welcome to my July deck and book haul. So in this video, I'm going to talk about everything I purchased for the month of July and how much I spent. So let's go ahead and dig right in. The first thing, I know that they're in a certain order, but I'm going to start with this one. So this was a recommendation from one of my subscribers here. They recommended that I take a look at this book based on the other magical realism books that I've been reading. So this is Gabriela, Clove and Cinnamon by Jorge Amando. And he is also the author of Doña Flor and Her Two Husbands, which is on my list to read as well. So when she recommended this book, I went ahead and searched for it, and I found it at a really great deal. So it was $6.01 to purchase it and have it shipped to me. And it's a used book. It does show a little bit of wear and tear, but not much. I mean, look at these pages are great. There's a little bit going on here, but it's okay. I can live with that. There's nothing, nothing wrong with it. And from the looks of it, this book was originally published in 1958, I believe. And I'm excited to read this one because it talks about a woman who lived and worked on the cacao plantation. So I was like, wait, what? Cacao? We're talking about cacao? Okay, I'm in. But anyhow, so this is a book that is joining my to be read pack. But this is one of the books that I purchased this month. This one, Tarot in Motion. Now, I've been working with the Be With Your Body Tarot a lot. I'm just going to give you a spoiler for the decks that I've been working with in July. And somehow or another, as I was looking at books and decks on Amazon, this one came up, and I had not even heard about this book. This book is by Marian Jacobs. She is a healer, a dance enthusiast, and apparently a tarot reader. So apparently during lockdown, she had been offering Tarot in Motion classes online. And she wrote a guidebook, so to speak, like a handbook for her classes, and ended up publishing the book. So this was published in 2022. I had never heard of this book before, but I really loved the idea of it. And I don't know how it relates to Be With Your Body Tarot. I cannot remember how in the world this came up. I don't know if I was looking at meditations, the meditations that they offer. I can't remember exactly how or why, but this book came up. Now, I haven't really dug into this book really deeply, not so far, but this book is all about working with the chakra system in relation to your tarot readings. So as you can see, it really gets into all of these methods, but it also talks about the Sabbats, the wheel of the year, how to work with the elements as well. And I'm just going to give you a small little peek into this book, because what it gets into, from my understanding of it and just looking at this very briefly, is the expression of the body through physical movement, using your deck as inspiration for that. So me as a yoga teacher, this is an extremely attractive book for me because, you know, I'm always looking at ways to integrate tarot and the work that I do. So Reiki and healing and yoga as a form of medicine as well. So this is part of my, I think in one book, she described it very well. This is part of my medicine. It was yoga for witches. She's like, what is your craft? Where do you push that energy out into the world? And yoga is one of them. That's how I help heal people. So this book was so attractive to me. This really felt like something I really needed within within my practice, within my library. So I am anxious to get to work with it, but I'm just going to share with you very briefly. So this is one of the cards that came up in my reading today. So 10 of Cups, which is 10 of Hips within the Be With Your Body Tarot. And it's described here as all 10 signaling an ending. The 10 of Water is complete contentment, and joy in it shows up in all aspects of our lives and can be shared with others. The 10 of Water radiates outward with bliss. The expressive movement qualities are water with fire. The dance pace is moderate. Chakra is water, sexual chakra flowing. Physical focus is the feet. The astrologic influence is Mars in Pisces, which creates the feeling of being content. Although Mars and Pisces have conflicting energies, the intention is appreciate the overflow of abundance. Suggested moves and props. Invite participants to follow you in walking in a circle, holding hands and pressing your feet into the floor. So based on this reading, if I'm reading for my class, or if I'm reading for my own personal practice, my personal yoga practice, I would want to involve something with these flowy movements, things that are going to open up through the sacral chakra, and grounding, a lot of movement, a lot of flow, and things that are going to maybe move the back in and out so that you can open up the heart and also the sacral chakra. So I really, really love what I'm looking at so far. And I think what I'm going to do is just try to incorporate this book into pretty much all of my readings when it pertains to moving, when it pertains to flow. I'm going to see how this book works into my practice for that. So anywho, I was excited, really, really excited to find this book. And I think you can hear that in my descriptions. But what's even more exciting is that I bought this book and had it shipped to me for $9.51. So another great deal. Okay, this one, I believe it was last wrap up that I talked about happy yoga, or not happy yoga, but Steve Ross, and he had a show on the Oxygen channel in the 90s called Inhale Yoga with Steve Ross. And this book had been sitting in my Amazon basket for, I don't even know how long. It's been a long time. So after I talked about it in my last video, I went ahead and dug it up from my cart, because there's a lot of things just sitting there in my cart that just haven't been purchased yet. But I found a used copy and I had this shipped to me. So let me explain a little bit about Steve Ross and the reason that I bring him up. I don't know if I bring him up quite often, but let me just cue you in a little bit to why I like him. So Steve Ross came out with a yoga TV show in the 90s. And what I loved about Steve Ross is that he did it with such a light-hearted approach. And I had really not seen that before. Usually it was very strict. The movements were more like hatha, you know, where you're in the movement and you push to another one and then you open up to another one. And Steve Ross's approach was more flow. And I really appreciated that. And then on top of it all, he was joking around within the class and, you know, saying little things. Sometimes, looking back now, maybe sometimes he shouldn't have said some of the things that he said, but it was just more of a relaxed setting when it comes to yoga. His playlists were fun, and his playlist in that show really inspired how I put together my playlist for my classes. Now, the reason I'm bringing out The Wild Unknown is because if you think about The Wild Unknown and how it changed, to me, how it changed tarot, you know, it was outside of the lines. It was outside of the boxes. It was a new experience. It was something different. It was still celebrating the traditions of tarot, but with a new light, with a fresh approach, something to make your mind expand in a way that maybe it hadn't before. So for that reason, I kind of think of his approach to yoga the way that the Wild Unknown opened up tarot. He was able to laugh, and he was able to be happy, and he was able to insert a little bit more flow and bring it all together with this funky playlist, which I just loved. I always loved the music in those classes. So this book is all about bringing in your happy into your yoga. Don't let it be serious. Don't let it be something that, yes, you want to get grounded and you want to think about all these important concepts, all of these yogic philosophies, engaging them into your flow and using it as healing, but you want to keep it light too. You want people to leave with a smile on their face. There may be tears shed because of the release that's experienced, but overall you want it to be a happy experience. So in the beginning of the book, I haven't even, gotten really into it. I read a few pages in and that's about it. But the beginning of the book, it's all about, the conversation about yoga and his philosophy. And then into the book, he gets into flows and different concepts. So different types of yoga, different styles, inner yoga, postures for longevity, and all these other concepts. So again, another book that I'm probably not going to sit down and read all the way through, but just have it handy so that maybe every once in a while I just pick up the book and take a look and see what inspires me on that day. And this book, again, I got it used and shipped to me for $5.64. So I'm doing good so far with my books, guys. Tools. Now, the only tool that I bought this month was the meditations that are available for the Be With Your Body Tarot. I have a full walkthrough of this deck. I'm really, really enjoying this tarot deck. And I really do think that it came to me when it was meant to come to me. I saw this deck on Instagram. I waited. Of course, I always wait. I mean, there's a few decks that I just like, okay, I'm just going for it. I'm doing it now. But this one I waited for a bit, and then when it came in, I think it was just like the perfect time, the perfect season for me to receive this deck, because it really has been such a healing deck. And I guess because of the season in which it came into my life, it's really integrated into my practice and becoming a fast favorite of mine. I really enjoy this deck. But the meditations that I purchased were $33, and I'll leave a link for the meditations. Each particular card within the tarot has a corresponding meditation. Now, I have not gone through all 78, but just as I had said before, all of the meditations that I have experienced so far, I have really enjoyed. They're very calm. They're, like I described before, they're a little open. They leave a little bit of openness within the meditation. So it's not just guided all the way through. She kind of sets you up, gives you time to get grounded, and then talks through it. So they're very nicely done, and they're all kind of between 5 to 8 minutes or so. So I'm really, really enjoying the meditations as well as the deck. So again, that was $33. Now, the next deck that I purchased is the Mantra Oracle. I saw this on Don Michelle's channel, and I was like, what is that? I think I had seen it on somebody's decks to come. I think it might have been A Life Full of Simplicity with Priscilla. I think that's where I saw it originally. And then when I saw it on Don Michelle's channel, I was like, oh my goodness, I think I absolutely need that deck. So yeah, it has, again, another deck that has really seemed to come in at the exact right time. I haven't seen I think there's a couple of walkthroughs online. The Zen Witch has a walkthrough, which I will link, and I love her walkthrough. I really like her energy. I really like the Zen Witch. If you haven't seen her, take a look. I really like her. But this is, to me, this is like an essential deck. It is really, really just something that is needed and fits well into my overall practice. So this deck is made up of 54 pretty much meditations and mantras. And as you can see, this art is just absolutely beautiful. It is so pretty. It is so calming. The colors are calming. Like these little pixelated type, these little like dots. I just love this deck. It is so pretty. It's so nice. Now, in addition to the mantra and then a little translation or like a little like key phrase for that particular mantra, each card in the guidebook, it has a black and white picture, but it has the full mantra, either written in Sanskrit or I think it is both actually. So like here, you have the full mantra and then you have the translation. So this is in Sanskrit and then this is your translation, and she goes over what that mantra means, the full description of each word within the Sanskrit language. And then she talks about the healing aspect of it for you to use within your meditation practice, as well as how to use that mantra, how to practice that particular mantra. And in addition to that, which I really, really love, is she actually directs you to a video that you can find online very easily. She pretty much says the crystalline path and then gives you the name, so you can just type it into your browser and look. I believe that there was one that I pulled up the other day that didn't have like the name of the person who does the mantra, but you can easily find it. All you have to do is type in the name and you'll find YouTube videos, you will find talking videos about the mantra, so if you want to dig in a little bit deeper. But I just am enjoying this deck so much. It is so pretty. It's so soothing, it's so calming, and again, something that I've really been able to integrate into my classes, even though my students may not realize it, or into my readings with a tarot deck that has nothing to do with my classes. It's been a really, really wonderful deck. So that is the Mantra Oracle by Lily Barberry Coolin. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly or not, so excuse me if I botched that up. All right, the last thing, okay, wait a minute, I missed something here. The Mantra Oracle was $30.07. Now there's one more deck before we get into this one. There's one more deck that I purchased this month, but I don't have yet, and that is the Yoga Tarot. I am so excited about this deck. This is being published by Llewellyn. This was published years ago. I could not find it for less than $400 or $500 used, so I never bought it, and I had kind of lost hope of getting the deck. And then a few months back, I saw that they were reissuing this deck and republishing it, so I pre-ordered it. So that deck came up to $24.17. You may have seen my journeying video where I was talking about dealing with grief and experiences through my son's passing anniversary. And so on the day of his passing, I took some time out because I couldn't even pull cards that day. It was just, you know, it's a rough day. So I kind of made myself busy doing some errands and things like that. And then I popped into my local Barnes & Noble and I thought, you know what? I'm going to treat myself to something. I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna find something. And so I did. So I got the Wild Unknown Alchemy deck. There are 71 hexagon shaped cards. Now, as you can see, they go all over the place. So if you get hung up by your cards moving in all these different directions, I don't know. I don't know if you'll be able to handle this or not. Shuffling is interesting when it comes to this particular deck because, you know, it's a hexagon. So the minute that you get them and, you know, you take them apart, see, they start moving around. So then you have to put them back in place and shuffle kind of off to the side like that, and then let them fall back into their little hexagon shape. So I don't know how you might feel about these if you're a stickler for things that are the right side up. Now in my decks, I don't like it when the cards go upside down, but that's because I don't read with physical reversals. So when they go upside down, I'm always kind of like, how in the heck did that happen? I don't get it. But with this one, I'm okay with it. You know, whatever side comes up is however it is. And I'm not really reading too much in the sense of reversals, so to speak. But the illustrations in this, it's very, very similar to, and let me just grab this real quick, the Archetypes deck. So the Archetypes deck is a circle, and I've yet to work with these two together because I just got this the other day. But there is something, this has more like, I know this is kind of collage as well, but this is more collage-y. I should say more analog collage. And the illustrations in this one just seem to be, how would I say it, like a little bit more refined, I guess. I don't know, it just calls me differently than the Archetypes deck, and I'm really enjoying this so far. Like I said, I've only had it for a few days, so I just started working with it. I was, you know, trying to see what decks will it pair up with. And I always like to work with my decks with something that's very familiar with, you know, within my collection when I get a new deck. But this one comes with 6 suits, and I have them written because I don't want to forget. So 11 cards are your cosmic forces, 4 cards are colors, 4 cards are seasons, 22 cards are materials, 22 cards are mysteries, and 8 cards are operations. But I don't know if you can see these, and I know this isn't a new deck. Nothing that I'm really talking about in here is new and exciting, but this is my haul for the month. So I have really been enjoying working with this deck, and the guidebook is set up a lot like the Archetypes deck. So you have writing all along the edges of the Archetypes guidebook, and this is the same. The thing is though, my eyes don't read that. I have to get out my little magnifying glass in order to read anything that's written on the side because it's so tiny. And even this script right here, like it has to, the lighting really has to be good in order for me to read it. So if it's dark, if it's early in the morning or later at night, this becomes a little hard for me to read. But that's not anybody else's fault or problem. It's just me. It's just my eyes because, you know, that's where my eyes are at, and that's it. But I'm really enjoying the deck. I'm really enjoying the images. The guidebook is set up very similar to, like I said, to the Archetypes deck, and I like it. So that deck, because I had a small little balance left over on a gift card of like $4 or $3 or something like that, came up to $34.85. So let's bring this all together here. So total in new decks was $89.09. Total in books came up to $21.15, and tools, which would be the Be With Your Body meditations, came up to $33, bringing my total to $143.24. Guys, I made it. I overdid it last month because I wanted to keep my total budget at $150, and so I made it. There was something else that I wanted to commit to this month, but it's $10, and so I want to stay within this budget. I have a daughter who's in her senior year of high school, and so I need to start diverting funds to get ready for extra expenses that we're going to be incurring during this time. So I'm really trying to manage the budget and see how and where I spend my money and just be a little bit more mindful of that. So thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you taking a walk with me through my deck and book haul. I appreciate you so much. Have a wonderful day from my heart to yours. I will see you later.